treat. Two young ladies here that will be speaking, Juliana Masalva and Shantae Edwards.
Do you mind if I close the door?
Sure.
Thank you.
We'll discuss transitioning into the workplace. So this is a big step for everyone. It's going from that safe, secure school into a world that they prepare you for, one where there's loads of opportunity and advantages and opportunities you have to take advantage of. And you're going to find out today how to do that.
Okay. So we'll start off with a little bit about ourselves. So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and then we moved to Chicago when I was a sophomore in high school. I went to Thomas Kelly High School on the south side. Sorry, south side. And then I went to, I graduated, went to U of I. I started off as a bio major. Well, I was the first of my family to go away for college, the first to graduate, so I know a lot of you are in the same position. I went to school thinking I was going to be either a doctor or a lawyer because that's all I knew. Did biology for 2 years, loved it, did well. I just, I couldn't afford to, I was like, well, if I graduate with a biology degree, what am I going to do if I don't go to medical school? So I started looking, got involved. A friend dragged me to an information night for Alpha. It's the Association of Latino Professionals in Finance and Accounting. And I was like, oh my God, like accounting is not that boring. It's actually pretty fun. I could see myself doing something in accounting. So I switched my major junior year to accounting. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Accountancy, and I was a scholar, so I think that you can see that we're both scholars. We've both been in your shoes, not too long ago, and so hopefully what we say, well, you'll take away something from what we tell you and use it in your lives. After I graduated, I started working for a Big Four accounting firm in Chicago. I was a tax accountant, which sounds super sexy and exciting. And I did that for about a year, and then I switched into my current role, which is internal auditor at Allstate. If you don't know what internal audit is, if you don't know what audit is, if you don't know what tax is, or the exciting careers and the amount of careers you can do with an accounting degree, come talk to me afterwards. I'd love to share what I do on a day-to-day basis. And then these are my tips for transitioning into the workforce. And I know a lot, some of you are in school, some of you are looking for internships, some of you are looking for full-time jobs. And so these are my tips for, kind of general for everyone. It sounds cheesy, and it is, but it's be positive and keep an open mind. Like I said, I try to take away one thing from everybody I meet, one fact, one idea from everybody I meet, and even if they're older or younger, I don't think they're that bright, I don't think they're less smart, I don't think they're, or they're amazing. Like, I try to take something away from everybody I meet and listen and learn, actively listening, actively learning from your peers. Because if you're engaged at work or you're engaged in your internship, people will notice that, and people will see like, oh my God, she's amazing, he's amazing. Like, let's try to see if we have an open position for them. And then exercising humility. I can't stress this enough. After you graduate, you spend all this money on this very fancy degree, you have all the student loans, you start your first job, and they're like, can you get me coffee? Can you make 17 photocopies of this? And I remember trying not to be like, oh my God, I paid all this money, I have this degree, I'm not making copies. Like, that's not what I went to school for. But understand that you're a team, you're a part of a team, and when you exercise humility, you say thank you. You take everything and all your tasks, as a learning experience. And I think that's important because people will know. Like, people will know, will see your attitude. And if you do, you're making copies one day, but you're moving to that next level. You're moving to the next level, and you're working, and you're the lowest person on the totem pole in most, when you're right out of school. So doing it with a smile, on your face and a positive attitude, it takes you a long way, and people will notice. Dressing the part. I think, you want to be perceived as a strong individual. You want to be perceived as you're ready to learn and be motivated. And if you're coming to work with your shirt's wrinkled, your pants are ripped, people will notice that. So come present yourself the way you want to be perceived, and you want to be perceived as someone who's ready to learn and ready to take on the next challenge. Another big thing is, and people will have different jobs. So I know at Groupon, like there's different company cultures. At Groupon, people, I have friends who go to work in flip-flops and t-shirts, and that's their dress code. But don't be that person. Be someone who dresses in a blazer or is professional and ready to take on those experiences and that culture. Business casual Fridays is business casual. It's not your jerseys. It's not your cute summer dress. It is, a nice blazer, nice jeans, professional, you look good. You're still, at a work environment. I think I didn't know that coming out of school. I was like, business casual, great, I get to wear, my sweatpants. And that's not the case. And so just know the environment that, know your company culture. And dress above the part that you want. Dress, I heard it's a saying, dress for the part you want, not for the job you have. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And then have fun, but not too much fun. Like, understand that work social events, you'll have happy hours, you'll have outings, you'll have, Cubs games, you'll have Sox games. But understand that you're still representing the company and representing yourself. So, don't get too drunk, don't say anything inappropriate, don't act inappropriate. It's still a work outing. And I think at internships, you'll know, you don't want to be remembered as the person who's like, oh, that intern, oh yeah, she drank a little too much at the Cubs game and made a fool of herself. Don't let that be you. And then be yourself. Like I said, when I first entered into the workforce, and I'm not a quiet person, I'm not a shy person, and I was like, I'm the newest one here, I can't say anything, I didn't speak out during meetings. And then after the meetings, I'd go up to my manager and be like, I have a million ideas, let's do this, why don't we do that? And she's like, why don't you speak up during the meetings? And I'm like, well, I don't want to be dumb, what if it's a dumb idea? Like, I don't want people to laugh at me. And she's like, no, speak up. And they want new, fresh ideas to the table. And in a lot of places, like I work at Allstate in internal audit, where most of the people are there 20 plus years, and I'm, 23 out of college, and I was scared, and I didn't, and they want new ideas because they've been doing the same thing, they've been thinking about things the same way, and here comes a new person who has all these, we live in a social media culture, we have all these ideas, and they want it, they want all of it. They want to, like Shantae said, they want to be relevant, they want to stay relevant. And so being yourself and doing, don't be scared of speaking up. Yeah. So those are my tips, and like I said, if you're interested in accounting or accounting major, or just about transitioning from majors, like come talk to me. I'll be here afterwards. Then I'll pass it over to Shantae.
Now, how do I follow her? A, she's dope cool. She's an accountant, and then she works for Allstate, and then there's me. So, I have this bag. Anybody want it? Anybody want the bag?
What's in it?
I mean, if you want to, just come get it, right? I still need to know what's in it. What's in it? Look at it. Let's see. What's in there?
$5 in a card.
Woo! And my business card.
Can I keep it?
Yes, it's yours. It is yours. Let's give it up for her real quick. What's your name? Amber. Amber? Let's give it up for Amber, y'all. So, this is life. It happens. People will give you opportunities. Are you going to take it? Are you going to hesitate? You're going to ask the questions. What is it? Versus just getting it and then looking inside of it. What are you going to do as you're transitioning into the workplace? Because you never know what $5 in a business card. The only business card I'm giving out. Yes, exactly. Dope, right? It's a nice business card too. Shantae J. Edwards, that's me. I'm from Chicago. I am the oldest of 7. I am from the west side of Chicago. Anyone?
Oh, that's
yeah! Wesley Jackson over there by United Center. I attended Crane High School. And I get excited, clearly. Sorry. I am the first generation college graduate, so I was the first to graduate from my family from college. And what did I do with my life? Well, so I graduated from U of I. Hey, U of I. Yeah! ILL. Said it again.
And I went to Manly also.
You went to Manly? Oh yeah, West Side, let's go. Hey. Sorry. West Siders and U of I, it's very uncommon. So I went to U of I and I graduated with a degree in communications and a minor in Afro-American studies. I'm not as cool as Juliana because she got a accounting degree or whatever. So see what happened was I started off. How many of you are graduates of college? You got bam, one. But why your hand just like that? You better put it up there. When did you graduate?
When or where?
When?
I graduated a month ago today.
Yeah, let's get it up. You graduated.
Loyola University of Chicago.
Loyola University of Chicago,
Yeah.
yes.
And I was an English major, so communication.
There we go. Bam. I got you, even though you can do better when revising my papers. Yeah, I got you. You got to do that. And then you, sir?
I just got back from Princeton 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't get a yeah, I'm pretty now.
Woo! Yeah, Princeton! You know, East Coast. Kind of go down like this. Like, I wish I could have done it. Okay, great. Celebration. So the rest of you all are still in school, right? So transitioning to the workplace is real life, no matter where you are, whether you're in school or not. And so what happened for me is that I graduated from U of I in 2008, and I had two decisions. Teach for America in Chicago, or move to DC for an internship. Internship, there are no guarantees. Teach for America, I could build a life here. Chicago, DC. Chicago, DC. I gave up Chicago for DC. So I went to this organization, College Summit, and was an intern. Started in May. Week after graduation, I was there. I was ready. Whew, I was doing everything I could, including applying for other jobs in other places. And so Giuliani talked about how you have to exercise humility. Here it is. August of 2008, I got a full-time job with College Summit. So from May to August, I was busting my behind. I was getting that coffee, I was getting those sandwiches, I was spending my money even though I didn't have any. I was doing it. I was asking questions, I was making it happen. And what happened was that they wanted me. Like, oh, she looks good, she can do all these type of things she has no idea about. Okay, great. We want her. Let's get her on our team. So I was at College Summit, August 2008, and I, again, applied to so many jobs, and was finally promoted within the organization to a full-time employee. And then worked there for 4.5 years, trust me. In our years, that's a long time. You have people who have been in organizations for like longer, with Giuliani being an internal audited. She's so smart, I can't even get down with it, for Allstate. And her working in that, her department, a lot of people that are older than her. And so 4.5 years was a long time. Considering it and when I was talking to my friends. And so as of last August, I decided that it was time for a change, so this transitioning to another workplace is what happened for me. And so I went from being at College Summit to the Future Project, and that sounds so cool, right? Became a dream director, where in Washington, D.C., I worked in the high school where I push passions. I'm a certified passion pusher.
You're like Tina Fey from Mean Girls.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah. I got you.
Okay, sorry. I get distracted easily. I'm sorry. Refocus, because she was so good. So I'm a dream director now with the Future Project, and I push passions and help high school students turn their passions and put them into actions and into a project. And so I get to do that all cool in DC and work on my master's as a school counselor. Clearly, I didn't want to be away from education. I just want to be a principal. So I'm getting my master's now at Loyola University, Maryland. It's not as cool as in Chicago. My tips. All right, so here's the thing. What I just did for you is life. You are going to get presented with opportunities and options out of this world. But if you don't go get it, that's it. Ask questions. No question is a stupid question. I know y'all know that phrase. Y'all can respond. It's like call and response here and there. And then, I'll tell you in advance. But yes, ask questions. Ask questions or go get it. That bag right there, it could have had $1 million in there. I would have kept it, of course. But, you know, she got $5 and a business card. $5, you know how much you could get with $5? Struggle. Ask questions. in the workplace, in college, ask questions. When you're transitioning, have at least 5 references. Raise your hand if you have 5 solid people who you can put down as references for you professionally. Raise your hand. Ah, gotcha. This is important. You need these 5 people to use on paper and in conversation. References, they ask, they call. You want to have 5 people who you can trust that an employer calls, they'll pick up and they not. Oh yeah, Shantae. Oh yeah, I remember her. I mean, yeah, you know, you must be like, oh Shantae, oh my God, she is probably not that amazing. Yes, professionally, I've known her for X amount of years, and she's been able to do X, Y, and Z concrete things. And yeah, I mean, I know that she would be great for the job because. Versus, all right, Shantae, think about it. Who do you want on your team to represent you? Have at least 5 references. The other thing is in conversation and using these references for, and we'll get to, I'll talk about mock interviews quickly, but also when it comes to college and career center, many of you are still in school. Use your school. I've been telling people, you pay for them to be there. They would not have a job if you did not exist. So get your money's worth. Because when you be looking at that bill and it's time to pay back Sally Mae, you'll be like, I wish I would have, Use the college and career center. This is where you're building your network. You don't know what you want to do? Fine, that's okay, that's life. A lot of people get degrees and they don't even have nothing, communications. Clearly I like to talk, but it had nothing to do with that. So use the college and career center. Go for the mock interviews. Go to update your resume. For those of you who still have things from high school, let it go. It is okay. You are growing up. Let it go. You were superb back then, back in the day, accurate days. Let it go. It's okay. They won't judge you. They will just see how you're developing professionally, because what you're doing is you're building your brand. You're creating yourself. You're doing this for you. So, let it go. Save money. Giuliani talked about it. Bam. Dressing the part, it matters. What you look like. So you need to go to Target, so you can feel important. No, feel a little bougie. You know, no. Don't come at me about DC. That's city all day. Come on now. No. Target. But I say if you want to feel important, call it Target. Burlington. Places where you can find great threads for nice value. It's okay. Save money though. You have to save money. I have a fund called the future. I don't know what's in the future for me, but I know if I have something happen, I can go to the future and take some money out. This is strictly for things that are miscellaneous that come up. Job interview. Oh God, I got a job. Oh, I need. I don't. Go to where you're saving that money. Whether it's $1 a day, 50 cents a day, save money. It's important. In-person business clothes. She already hit on it. She touched on it. It's duh. People don't want to see you. They don't want to see you in your like jeans and your V-neck and your sandals. No, dress the part. Have practice interview sessions. This is where your 5 references come in. Yo, conversations. You be like, yo. I like to say yo, clearly. Bonnie, she's one of my references. And I call her like, man, I got this job interview in like 2 days over the phone. Can we talk? Can you help me? Like I really, you can Google any interview questions. Bonnie is one of my solid, she's a solid person that I could talk to. She pulls up a couple questions and we have a conversation. Mock interviews. Use the people around you. Every interview you have a practice interview. You have to, at least 2 days before, whatever time frame, but always practice before you get on the phone. That's what those 5 references are for too. They don't know it, but you use them for that. They feel important. Oh, you want me to be formal? Okay, I can try this out and make them feel important, make them happy. Make it happen for yourself. But practice makes
perfect.
Yes! You get it, right? Okay, great. The other thing too is always follow up with jobs or when you receive business cards. So Giuliani talked about, you're already at the company and you're, socializing and everything. But sometimes you could be at the company and talking about, like drinking and all that kind of stuff. Somebody could be looking at you. The president could be checking you out. Oh, okay, you like to get down and turn up. Okay, we don't want you to turn down. And it also could be a possible promotion. So no matter who you're talking to, there's always an opportunity. Juliana talked about how she learns at least one thing from one person, no matter old, young, whatever the case. That's life. Learn one thing, one fact from everyone you talk to, like whoever you have conversations with, because they can help you. It's about reciprocity, give and give. Following up on business cards. I've done it before. How many of you guys have had a card and it just sits in your wallet, purse, or on the floor, on the table, or somewhere? Be honest. Yes. That could have been a job. That could have been some money for school. That could have been a possible network, a connection to get another job, to another job, to another job, you never know. So following up is important. Being able to be like, yo, follow up. Even if it's like, hey, I like that pink tie that you have on.
Thank you.
It was great. See how he got excited about that? You know, we can start talking about everything. But the one thing, don't follow up the same day. It's kind of creepy. You know, give it at least 24 hours. So you can be like, oh, yesterday when we were talking, or when we were talking Tuesday at blah, 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 blah. You know, I remember I would love to finish this conversation off. Or you mentioned X, Y, and Z. I would love to, you know, find at least one thing. So as soon as you guys break, find at least one thing to connect with. Sorry. Find balance real quick. Balance, stress, life. Stress, life. Life is stress, stress is life. However, it's how you manage it. How do you control your life? What do you do to feel like that? What's your happy place? Everybody needs a happy place. Trust me. You need something to be able to balance off when life is going crazy, you're feeling insane, you just want to throw everything. What is it going to bring you back to earth? Finding that balance is important. This is in college, as you can see. Finals, yes, life. In real life, it's like bills, payments. What's going to make you happy? Find that balance. Learn how to negotiate quickly. Took my first job that I'm talking about with College Summit. Was offered $39 because I settled for $39. $39.5. Was asked the salary. What's your salary request? I was like, 39, 40 something, 45, 42 or something like that. Because I spoke to someone and had a friend come in 2 months later, and she was like 45, 47. We started at the same level. I was making $39.5. She was making $47,000. Fresh out of college. So it took me like this to rise. She was already there. So by the time I got to her salary, she was already up here. Because I didn't know how to negotiate. I didn't know my worth. Remember, they need you. I am hiring you to make me look good. You got into my school when you were in college and while you were in college because I needed you to make me look good. I need you. Think about that. So what can you do, because they need you, to put your stuff out there so you can know your worth, your value. Learn how to negotiate. And it's simple. Being flexible, having a conversation, learn how to negotiate. Build and establish networks. Show this form. This is you. Who surrounds you? Your network is your net worth. Who's on your team? Who's building you? Who do you have to help if you need something else? I was able to go to DC because I had someone that was connected in my network to help build my net worth in my career and focus and planning. And so I've been on the East Coast now for 5 years. Had I not taken that opportunity, connected with my network, my net worth would look a little differently. Not saying it would have been, lower, but I wouldn't be, dreams, passions, yeah. I wouldn't be living that life. Your friends, your organizations, your church, your family members, they're in your network. How does that make you look? Because you might have little Ray Ray on Facebook, his name, Ray Ray, give me some. That's in your network. Does that represent you? How can you utilize people within your network, too, to get where you need to go? It's not what you know, it's who you know. That's how I got through life a lot of times. I exposed myself to so many different opportunities. I came from the hood, the projects, single family home. I went to Crane. Like, things didn't come to me. I had to go get it. So how are you going to make sure you're building the people around it so you can reach out? Like, so here's the thing. I'm moving. I need a place to stay. Do you know of anyone? Done. Protect online brand, clean up social media. How many of you guys have a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn account? Don't be scared. When I was talking about Ray Ray, give me some. That's in your network. That's also a part of your brand. Employers, look at that. Talked to a friend last week. She was talking about how, as a hiring manager, they used to bring up the Facebook profiles and X people out because of their Facebook profiles. What they look like. How they represented themselves online. That drink, it can cost you. How are you representing yourself? Hide those photos. You want to keep them on there? Fine. Whatever. Fine. Hide them. Because they will find them. Or just let it go. Be a grown up about it. Print it out. Make a scrapbook. Delete it. For real. Because you can type in my name right now. It says Shantae Edwards. MySpace. In parentheses, it says tag. Connected to Fresh to Death 85 at AOL.com. Let me tell you, I'm working on cleaning up my social media because I don't want Tay over there. When you look up Shantae, I want to be all professional sometimes. But clean up your brand. What you tweet, it will follow you. Oh, I just got me some ... What people tweet. Now, I know y'all be judging people. I do too. Instagram, what they post, those pictures. If they your friends and you're following them, I can see that. I can see who you follow. Who's in your network. And it's okay to have friends and everything. No, be true to yourself. But remember, it's your brand that you're building. It's about you. And Ray, give me some. Gotta let that go. Commit to a hobby. So going back to finding a balance. It's a lifestyle change, yo. What's going to be the thing that keeps you going? What's going to be the things that keeps you pushing? Because if you don't, you will go crazy. You will break. It happens. It happened to me. And it hurts. Because it's like, man, if only I had this to keep me to keep me sane, to keep me there. But because I didn't have this, I broke down. What's going to be your hobby? Talked to a young lady earlier in another session. She loves bowling. I told her, bowl. I just talked to Celeste over here, and she'll talk a little bit real quick. She runs. I want to be a runner. I aspire to do that. 5K. So what's going to be your thing? How are you going to just be cool? What's going to bring you back to earth? Commit to a hobby because you owe yourself that. Be selfish. The other thing, too, is going just back up and asking questions and everything. The first impression is the last impression. What's your elevator pitch? In 60 to 90 seconds, what do you say? How do you represent yourself? How do you engage an audience? How do you get them like, ooh, I want to know more? How does that happen for you? And thinking about what that represents for yourself and your brand. First impression is a...
Last impression.
I'm trying to see. First impression is a...
Last impression.
Yes. And before I get to the last thing, the other thing about asking questions, ask questions. Do things. It's okay if you don't know about it. Play like you do. Trust me, you'll learn on the way. As you ask questions, as you build yourself, as you're having these conversations, as you're reaching out to people, as you're growing your network and growing your net worth. Because you matter at the end of the day. And have fun. I ain't talking about that turn up all the time. You don't have to turn up all the time. Have fun. Live your life. This stress about working and living and all that good stuff, it's going to happen. You're going to need a job. Everybody got to work. It's life. But what are you going to do to make sure that it doesn't become your life? When it comes to the workplace, because that's what happened to me, it became my life. And it sucked out me. So what are you going to do to stay committed to finding a hobby and have fun and live up? And ask questions. That's all I got. Less.
So what can I add to that? Probably nothing, right? Nothing. So what I can do though is I have 3 things that I want to mention, and then I want to talk about some of the things that Juliana and Shantae both said that I can just give a little bit more depth and breadth and color to it for you as opposed to reiterating all those things, because what they told you is they've given you the prescription to a successful career. I mean, where else can you go and get that in less than a lifetime, okay? So these things aren't arbitrary, they are real and they're concrete, and if you do them and you believe them, but we all know that you have to believe something before you can do it, right? Before you can do it right, you have to believe it. So even when Juliana talks about humility, you have to believe it so that when people see it, they recognize and know it's for real. So the one thing I want to talk about is email communication. That's something we didn't talk about. We're in a world of texting, emailing, and we have lost touch with relationships and getting to know people. And that's because we don't have enough face-to-face contact. We can sit with each other. You go out to lunch and everybody has their crackberry, but we're together, but are we really together? So that's something you want to think about, because to create relationships, you have to get away from social media and you have to actually talk to people. So in a business environment, as you transition, there are times where there's critical information that you want to get to someone. Be careful that email is absent of tone and intent. So if you write, and if you're a very direct person, you don't think that you're being rude, but your directness in terms of you've been taught to be clear, have brevity, get it done, you're going to write that way. So the receiver may interpret it as you being rude, abrasive, and lacking personality, which can jeopardize your relationship going forward. I still have to do an email, walk away from it, come back and say, no, I'm not going to delete. Because the other thing is that if you're annoyed about something and you're responding, walk away from it, don't send it. Because truly, when you send it, that tone is going to come across. And again, we always know first impressions are lasting impressions. So be careful with communication. Social media, I think Shantae really took care of social media, but what I want to say is take it serious. It is for real. It is for real. And it could even be something as simple as who your affiliations are. It doesn't have to be about you. It could be somebody who's connected to you, who's tagged to you, that somebody else knows that that person has had a bad experience with. You don't want to create a way for people to discount you and cross you off before they get to know you. Make it so that they have to get to know you to decide that you're not the person for the position. Resumes, let's talk about the quality of a resume. It's your calling card. So do you get that? When you put this in front of someone, they don't see you. They don't know that you're just really a nice person. They don't know anything about you. They know what they see. So if there are typos, formatting issues, and it just looks a mess, what's going to happen? You're never going to get in the door. They will never get to know who you are. Even if you have to go to the writing center at your school 155,000 times till you like it and ask them, look, I need some help. What help can I get? Ask them, do you type these? I'm not really a typist. I'm not that great at formatting. Can you help me with that? They can only say no. And if they say no, you can say, wow, what can you do? Can you refer me to a free service that would do it for me? You're the Career Center, so they're there to help you. I actually did not hire someone because of a typo on a resume, and I really liked her. And I thought she would do a good job. But do you know what that says? That says that you don't pay attention to detail. And that doesn't mean I'm the most detailed person in the world, but it meant that I said, hey, Shantae, look at this. Look at this. Can somebody look at this? You need a different set of eyes to look at it. Because the purpose of this resume is to get you in the door. And the purpose of the interview is to get you the job. So now once you're in front of that person, now you're at a different stage. So we're talking stages of employment. Now that you're in the door, you have to be able to say, what are the 5 things about you that that employer needs to know because they should hire you. And those 5 things become part of your interview whether they ask or not. So what that means is you may go through an interview and you're never able to touch on those 3 or 4 critical things that you think they should know. So what you do is you look for opportunities to interject, and you don't leave there until you've done it. That even means if you get to the end of the interview, because they're rushed, you could say, this was really great, you know, I welcome the opportunity to keep in touch with you and talk more if I have questions. Here's some questions I have. So we're back to those questions that you must ask. In addition, there's some things that I think would be helpful for you to know about me. I worked in this particular capacity, And during that time, the economy was on a down slope, and my job as the intern coordinator was to still have interns. So what I did is I recreated a program into an unpaid internship program that worked well for both the schools, because schools' jobs are to prepare you for life, to educate you for life. So they're not doing their job if you can't give them experience, hands-on, real-world, valuable experience, so that you can then take the next step. At the same time, I have no money, so I need to be able to come up with a way to still have students, but give them such meaningful opportunities that they would do it for free. So what we did is we created specific projects, and we matched those students' interests to those projects. Several of them, which, this is a true story, are still working at the City of Chicago Mayor's office, because they recognize that opportunity. You have to take advantage of opportunity, if you, whether it's paid or not. Even if you have to get a second job that's paid, if you can get real hands-on work experience, that's what's going to distinguish you from someone else just graduating from school. And as a result of this idea, I saved the city $2 billion. So, should somebody know that about me? Yes. In addition to that experience, we talked about getting references. There was an email written to me from a woman who was considered like the ombudsman. She was the it in the mayor's office. They were also close family friends with the former Richard M. Daley. She wrote me an email that had me astounded. And in the email she said, Celeste, I'm going to be moving on from the city. I'm going to be doing some other things. I'm looking at retirement. I wanted to let you know before this came public. And I also want to say to you that I needed to recognize that I am absolutely amazed at the work that you've been able to do with very little resources and support. The difference that you've made in the lives of people in the city of Chicago is unknown by many people. And she basically went on and on and on, and I'm like looking at this saying, who is she talking about? But I also printed it, and I printed it and I included as either a conversation of I can tell you what I do, but I think it's easier for you to understand the contribution based on the voice of another individual. And this is what this woman said, and the impact on me was I just felt really great, because it was one of the best compliments that I've been given. But in addition to that, I have a written reference from the first place I ever worked, and this was a woman who went to Brown University, and she considered me as her protege. I was a very successful recruiter, and at that age, she felt as though I was probably one of the highest paid 23-year-olds around, and she would always say, this is something that people probably don't know. And it was basically, I worked really, really hard, because it's what you kill is what you eat, and I was convinced that I needed to eat. I like food too. I like desserts. So I worked hard, and I made 6 figures, 23 years old. That was a long time ago. I kept saying, wow, whatever happened to that? But she wrote a letter, and in the letter she said things like that I had such a rare blend of talent that you've never seen. I'm like, wow, she's a real good writer. She was an English major. She was an English major. She went to Brown, and she wrote a letter that I couldn't have imagined putting together myself. I worked for another place, and I asked for a reference. He said, write it for me. He was an attorney. I'm like, you could write it? You could. He asked me to write it, so I incorporated some of those things that he basically signed off on. And so in addition to having people you can use, as you have experiences and internships, if you ask them to write something for me, you never have to worry about, unfortunately, if they die or move or retire. You've got something, a hard copy of something in your portfolio along with your resume that you can share with people. In addition to those references, these people aren't available now. Actually, my first reference died 2 years ago. I had a long-term relationship with her for the 30 years after that first experience with her and her family. So, but I still have these memories, and I still have this document, which is outdated but extremely valuable, because if you can consistently show how you add value, that's what distinguishes you. What value can you add in terms of your accomplishments? You have accomplishments now. You just have to think about it. They exist. So you may say, well, I'm just starting out. Yeah, you have them. Things like being in a class that you're in, any compliment that your teacher is paid. If you tutor because you're so good in that subject, you're tutoring on the side, that goes in your resume. Your extracurricular activities. How many people contribute to their community in some way, in some volunteer work? Huge. Is it on your resume? Did anybody forget to put it on the resume? Those people that are there are your references as well, if you're doing a good job. Have you gone to them and asked them for where they might be able to refer you for a job? Where are there opportunities for internships and or permanent position? So let's talk about networking and how I got every job that I've gotten. The first job that I got, I interviewed for a job that they allegedly were looking to hire someone for, and they hired me there. Within 6 months, I became manager of their corporate assistant manager, and a year after that, manager of their corporate headquarters. Through this same relationship of this woman who felt as though I was this rare blend of talent, and on and on and on, based on